what is the one part of Harry Potter that you love maybe the most or brings you the most comfort? Over these chapters, I was thinking of every time they're on the Hogwarts Express, I like get giddy feelings. I'm like, I would love being there. It's just like one part of the story that blooms in me and resonates with me. And I'm like, oh, it just feels like you're on your way. You're at the Dursleys. Like the Weasleys was like a little temporary place. It's great. But I'm like, now we're in Hogwarts Express. Now we're going to Hogwarts. Yeah. Do you guys have a spot yet in the books that you get so excited about reading these like little sections because it just makes you feel cozy, or that you love just for loving it?
Like a repeated thing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a repeated thing. It could just be a one-time thing that you just read and you were like, that, I love the feeling of that.
I think I'll say the Great Hall. Because it's happened a bunch of times. And for whatever reason, I like the sky in the Great Hall. And then in here we hear like lightning and all that. I didn't think of it as being an actual like projection of the current sky. So that I thought made it even cooler. But yeah, I feel like whenever we're in the Great Hall, I'm like, oh, this place is great. It feels cozy.
It's like the weather app. You walk into the Great Hall and you're like, oh, it's rainy day. And it doesn't rain on you. It's great. It's wonderful.
I mean, I do love the Hogwarts Express. It is very magical. I also feel like anytime the Weasleys are together.
Yeah, because you mentioned that last podcast too. Just the burrow.
That moment. It's like nothing special. But just everyone's together, cozy, just doing their own thing. I love that.
I think you really like the action-packed chapters.
I like the detective
stuff. Throw me in the riddle house. Throw me in
It is true.
We like the murder mystery. Like
I love the mystery of this and trying to figure out who's. So those are my favorite chapters, which would be the first chapter in this book. I mean, I talked forever on that podcast. But then, it's different though, because the Christmas, like in the hall, or I think of like their I know it's not dorms, their
common rooms.
Yeah, the common rooms. Like I guess I picture that as like a cozy, like place where they're all like hanging out and playing games and stuff, which is kind of. Reminds me of like college where you're just like going to
there's a fire going in it.
Yeah, it's so great.
That's really cozy.
Makes it even, So I'll go with those two.
Such good feelings. There are so many that are going to come up too. I was asking this question and a lot of people were saying different things.
More good feelings or bad good feelings?
Good, more good ones, obviously. People have ones that are in the 5th, 6th, and 7th book, so we can't talk about those yet, but there's so many more things that are going to be explored in these books that just give you such warm fuzzies. It's just so exciting. I love these so much.
Warm fuzzies.
Anyway, welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
Jen.
Danny. And that's Kristen.
And Kristen. Every time. Sorry.
That was my bad. And this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. All right, here are your usual podcast reminders. Number 1, rate and review us. That's the best thing you could do for this podcast. It would get the word out there to more people, and they'd see good ratings, they'd see good reviews, and they want to listen, and we'd build this community. Number 2, go to subreddit if you want a deeper community for Harry Potter nerds who are talking about all things in these books and all things about the podcast. It's really, really fun. It's really enjoyable. Trust me, you'll have a good time on there. Most of the people were just chatting about random things in these books, and it's really fun. Number 3, we got a Patreon. So if you want to support us on Patreon with a $5 a month membership, we are going to start putting more content on there. We're going to start putting some of the full live streams on that. And then we're going to edit the live streams down a little bit. And then we're going to post normal live streams on the YouTube channel too. And that's number 4, YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel. We're posting all sorts of things, which goes hand in hand with our TikTok account that we have now. So jump in on TikTok. I think everything is under at First Time Readers or our First Time Readers, or our Twitter, which we don't really use that much, is First I'm Readers. So go join us on YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube, join us on TikTok. We're coming out with all sorts of shorts, just little clips and snippets of the podcast that are just fun, and they kind of lead to the fun discussion. 2 more things. Our email, if you want stickers or bookmarks or anything like that, we are firsttimereaders@gmail.com. And then our website. We've had 2 people successfully get into our website finding what the password was. which is a pretty cool thing. It's kind of like a fun little challenge we're putting out there. So if you want to be able to access our website, which is like not completed yet, it's just a website floating out there, firsttimereaders.com, and you have to guess what the password is. It's obviously Harry Potter related, so good luck. We've had 2 people who've had success so far. We'll see if we have any more. Enjoy these next 2 chapters. We recorded 4 chapters altogether, but we're going to break this up into 2 chapters. Chapters 11 and 12, and then chapters 13 and 14, because the podcast fully was about a 3-hour recording. So we're going to break those up into 2 like hour and 15, hour and 20 minute podcasts. So enjoy this podcast, rate and review us, and thanks for your support. That was our shortest intro in a while. Well done. Also, let me crack open these licorice twists. Not quite licorice wands, but see if they're any good. Well, they're kind of like mini wands.
They look like a sorting hat from here.
They look like a what?
A sorting hat from here.
Oh, nice catch.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh my gosh. I'm really throwing you guys out with these here.
That's on tape. Don't.
Man, you guys all caught terrible
I'm
throws.
also really glad this is not black licorice.
Yeah, there was black licorice there, and I was like, no
I caught it with my
chance.
elbow eventually.
That was
I hate
amazing.
black
I might have liked it.
That's kind of why I said that before, but
Yeah, no,
What
I figured.
no, don't tell me
because
that.
that
I
is
wanna
the default licorice, right?
yeah, I don't like it.
I like the.
It smells amazing.
Yeah,
This in the midst of my
it's not
dinner.
bad. Obviously, this isn't
nice.
the original Harry Potter stuff.
Got some
is so good.
ASMR in here.
Yeah.
That's why I backed up. I bet you though, if you put like Harry Potter on there, we'd be like, "This is amazing."
I'm gonna buy these from Trader Joe's, repackage it, make my own packaging, and then sell
the
them for like
sticker on
double the price. Yeah. Put our sticker on Harry Potter on First Time Readers. We got stickers. Anybody who's watching, email us at firsttimereaders@gmail.com, and I will send you guys some stickers. Okay. Wow, these are really good.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pass them over to you. I'm gonna take a few.
Thanks, John. These are
These are great.
really good. Trader Joe's soft
not my
strawberry flavored licorice
You're not into
twist.
them?
They're good. I'm just not.
Kristen's like gagging over there. These are good.
I'm just not a big candy person.
Oh, sure.
Let's go through this wonderful chapter, or these wonderful 4 chapters. The first chapter we're doing is Aboard the Hogwarts Express, like we were just talking about. Give me a very quick summary of this chapter.
Something happens at the ministry with a person called Mad-Eye Moody, and the kids take the Hogwarts Express to school.
Yep.
Very simple.
How do you like the name Mad-Eye Moody?
Makes me think he's moody.
Yeah.
I don't know, like
Mood swings.
he's a mad eye.
He's bipolar.
I mean,
It feels like a name somebody else made up to make fun of him, and then he just kind of embraced or just doesn't care. Now that by the end of chapter 14, where we read to, we know him, but it seems like a little bit of a weird name. I like it though. Very intriguing, because you're like, I feel like I don't like this guy. It's like feels like a threatening name a little bit.
I didn't even really think about the name until now.
That's why I was saying a while ago, these characters are named. I gotta like not put something in my mouth before I start talking. Like,
you're elaborating on your questions with the licorice in your mouth. That's great.
she named these characters so well. I think that she just crushed the naming game on this. I love it.
She had no assistance? Do you know?
I'm sure she had some assistance, but I think a lot of it was just in her head. Like, there's one story that I'm going to bring up that one of our subredditors came up with. It's like the coolest thing ever. I cannot wait to share it. It'll happen the next chapter, next set of chapters.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't bring up stuff like that.
You do this a lot.
No,
You like,
good.
get
I like
so
it. It's like
excited.
a teaser.
Yeah.
Like,
Of course you would like that.
And I'm just sitting over here. I'm like, I can look it up.
Yeah.
oh, you're right.
Sorry,
You're on
Jen
the
and Danny.
I'll try to
true.
find it and send it to you.
Okay.
It's so good though. Yeah, I think she's so good at naming characters. Mad Eye Moody. Even just like, that's probably a nickname because one of his eyes is mad, but it's still just such a good name. There's like funny little things in this chapter too. Because Mrs. Weasley took a piece of buttered toast from a stack on the kitchen table, put it into the fire tongs, and transferred it into Mr. Diggory's mouth. Like he's just his face is popping out of the fire. Really?
I don't remember that either.
It's so awkward.
Yeah. It's such an awkward interaction.
But bleh. Let me repeat that sentence.
Rewind.
All right, sorry. Mr. Diggory's head comes into the fireplace, but it's not. It's like him transporting a message through imagery, and his head just appeared. Like, I was confused.
I pictured it like a phone call. Like this is like
right.
FaceTime for wizards.
Like Star Wars when it's like the little hologram.
Yeah, that's how I picture it. But we don't know anything. But it also is the Flu Network. So then I was thinking, like, can you do that if it's not connected to the Flu Network, or is this just for houses that are connected?
Is Amos Diggory on all fours in his house with
Sticking
just
his head.
everything but his head is showing in his house?
Just getting fed by a person on the other side, like an animal.
Gosh, you could do that. Just stick your head in someone else's house.
Right?
Yeah.
How creepy
So
is
weird.
that? The
And
Flu
this
Network
is-
is the
Wait,
single
is that
most
what you
creepy
think- that's
thing
what you think
in the
it is?
entire wizarding world.
Right. And that's
I
why
think
they've
so.
got these fireplaces in the common area and stuff. I'm like, I'd be all like, ugh, I'd be skeeved out whenever I was near a fireplace, because you never know if some random person's flying by the Flu Network or they're about to stick their head in the fire. And then the other thing
That
is
is what that was. Sorry.
if
I can't get over it.
he's not burning his face, but Mrs. Weasley has to pass toast through, does the toast get burnt while being fed to him?
Maybe she just gave him a piece of bread and it turned into
And it got
toast.
toasted instantly as she passes it over.
Have you guys ever had a mountain pie?
A
What?
mountain
I feel like I
sounds
brought this up a while
familiar.
ago.
Or
And
a
they're called
moon
different
pie.
things too. Or what?
I've heard a moon pie.
A moon pie, yeah. Well, it's slightly
It's-
different from a moon pie too.
Okay.
Some people make moon pies out of them.
Oh,
You know those like big sandwich tongs that you can put in a fire?
Yeah.
You butter 2 pieces of bread, like crazy butter it like a lot. Put 2 pieces, then you put whatever filling you want. A lot of people put pumpkin pie filling, or like I'll take the best is like fruit filling. Like cherry pie filling. You just take that, dab it on, close it up, put it over the fire for like 5 minutes. You bring it out and it's like this toasted,
Ooh.
beautiful, like
What?
they smush
is it
together. Some
called?
people make grilled cheese. I call
kind
them
of
mountain
bread?
pies.
Oh, I've never
Some
heard
people,
of that.
huh?
What kind of bread?
Any kind of bread?
Sourdough?
You can do sourdough. Yeah, probably can do sourdough.
And you can actually use dough too. Like you can just throw the dough in there.
Wow.
I've never tried that.
I think I call it bannock, because I have one of those things, the cast iron things you throw over the fire. So I've tried it with different things, but I've never done a grilled cheese. That would be really good.
That would taste so good.
But I do like a
Sounds fantastic.
s'more, where I just put the chocolate and the marshmallow in there with the bread.
Yeah.
Then it comes out like a s'more empanada.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, that's so much better than just a normal s'more, because
Way less
s'mores
mess, you know?
Yeah, disgusting, because you're
Yep.
like sticky the rest of the night. You can't- why are you eating that?
Whoa!
You don't have to eat it if you don't like it, guys. Whatever food I'm giving you.
Things. So I tried another bite. It's not.
It's not
That's
not
a good
working
texture
for you.
thing.
Remember that Office episode where Michael just got broken up with Holly, and he's eating like cottage cheese and olives because there's no ice cream in the fridge? And he's like, it's so gross. It just keeps eating it.
Ew.
Oh gosh.
That is so gross.
What do you guys think Moody is a good or a bad character? Because this
You
is
mean
something
by the end of 14 or like when we meet him?
even by the end of 14. Because by the end of the 14, like right now, we know he's a divisive character, at least. Because this is what Mrs. Weasley says. Your father thinks very highly of Mad Eye, said Mrs. Weasley sternly. And then, yeah, well, Dad collects plugs, doesn't he? Said Fred quietly as Mrs. Weasley left the room. Birds of a feather.
How he treated Neville started to change my mind on him. I like how he was like at the end.
Like being kind
bonded
and
with him
Mm.
in that weird way that we kind of talked about. Remember when we were
Yeah.
talking about the professors and how like Trelawney can bond with certain students.
Yep,
I felt
so
like
true.
that was a moment where he kind of took him under his wing,
You're right.
and it
Yeah.
kind of changed my mind.
Because
I
he
was
was like passing on the stuff that Sprout had said about him. Like he's really good in herbology. I'm getting mixed feelings. I think he's a good guy, but not because of what we've seen a little bit. Just because it said that only 2 people at Hogwarts actually wanted him there or liked him or whatever the wording was, Hagrid and Dumbledore. And I'm like, cool. If they both vouch for him, I'm in.
Right.
And the Weasleys. So as far as I'm concerned, he's a good guy. He's weird and that he's willing to turn students into ferrets and hurt them.
He doesn't care
I'm like,
at all.
But it's Malfoy.
I don't like Malfoy, so like
fine
I
with
can
it.
get behind it a little bit, but I was like, oh, this is edgy. So I don't know.
We didn't like that someone was doing a spell behind the
It
back.
felt like he was about, like Malfoy was about to attack
Yeah.
Harry or something, and
And I
maybe
was
we
like,
break
good.
it down
He
more when we
needs
get
to
there. But
learn a lesson.
yeah.
But then it was interesting because he said that he knows his father, right, very well, and Snape very well. They're like good friends. Like, make sure you tell your dad that I'm watching you.
Were they good friends, or I felt like that was
So
like
Snape
snooty
and
of him.
oh, you
saying
think?
that. I didn't take it that they were like friends. I took it that he knew them.
I took
but he was like,
Snape
"Tell
and
them I
him
said
as
hi,"
friends.
almost as like a threat.
to his,
Right.
his dad.
Yeah.
Yes, to the dad. I was
Okay.
saying to Snape. I thought
Oh.
he said that he was
Oh
friends.
yeah, because that's confusing part, kind of, where he goes, "Where's Professor Snape? Oh, I got to pay him a visit," and like I think he calls him a friend or something like that. And
He's
I
an
took
old
that as
friend
like
of
a
mine.
dry sarcasm, like the same he was talking about Mr. Malfoy, like, yeah, like I'm watching you kind of thing. But they could actually be friends.
But then if he
Well, not
knows-
really, because Snape didn't
But I
vouch for him
feel-
to
so,
be
like,
at
to me-
Hogwarts.
oh, sorry. What were you saying?
Well, we only know that only 2 people at Hogwarts wanted him there. And he took Snape's dream job. So I don't think they're friends.
But Snape must suck at being a defense against the dark arts
He
because
sucks
he's
as a person.
well, yeah.
Sorry,
I feel
keep
a little
going.
bit bad for him, but yes.
Wait, why do you feel bad for him?
I don't because he got made. I feel like he was bullied as a when he was in Hogwarts, and he just wanted friends, and no one kind of included him. So then he got
get
bitter.
over it, though.
I know, yes, but I feel a little bad.
Yeah. I can feel bad for him.
Yeah, I still don't understand why he doesn't get the job. And all of these other random people, some of them very unqualified, get it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because he's so good with potions, or he really needs to focus his energy there, or he's doing some study on potions that's important. But I'm a little confused by it. But this feels like another, even in the chapters, they compared him, Mad Eye, to Lupin. Maybe that was how he was treating Neville, but
Yeah.
still, they were comparing it like, it feels like he has the students in mind. He wants to be a good teacher.
Yeah.
His methods
Well, he
are
wants to
questionable.
I think
but-
it's like he wants to protect the students. This
Yeah, he genuinely
round,
wants
right?
them to
Like,
be prepared
Dumbledore
for the world.
is
Yeah.
okay with me showing you all these illegal, dark spells, so that way you're prepared.
Right.
And I want you to learn this, so you know what you're getting yourself into, because no one's going to warn you
Yep.
when they're doing this to you. So I
True.
feel like, yeah, like he has the best interest in the students. So I would hope that he is good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, if you're going to have a teacher who wants the students to be successful wizards, genuinely, and that's their goal, even if their methods are off, I can forgive them a lot of mistakes as long as they have the right mindset. Like, they want the students to be good wizards, to know more, to learn magic. That's great, because some of the teachers, it feels like they don't necessarily care about the end result, or they were just a little bit like, they're just doing what they're supposed to do, but they're not good teachers. So it feels like Mad Eye actually will be a good teacher to some degree.
At least maybe just an effective teacher for certain students too.
Yeah.
I think different teaching styles are definitely gonna give you different things too. Like Lupin's practical lesson to me still is the best lesson that they had. This is a good lesson too, but it's very jarring to the point where some students, like a Neville or a Hermione or a Harry, are gonna shut down and hate that lesson because it was just too much.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get there when we get there.
Oh yeah.
That chapter is so good. I love that chapter. From the book so far, who is your favorite and least favorite Weasley? I'm sorry to do this to you guys.
Well, least favorite, I'm going to go with Percy. He's just annoyed me too many times.
Okay.
Yeah, ditto.
Danny, change. You gonna change the? Because I hate Percy too.
I don't like Percy, but I still think of Percy as being just like immature, a kid. Like, there's still hope for him, but he's very arrogant. So I don't like him, but I'm trying to think. Well, one thing, I feel like the twins are the same person, and there hasn't been anything to distinguish them yet. And I kind of want there to be, like, I want it to be like Fred is this and George is that, or like some difference between them. But there is no difference. They are the same. They are always together. They're always doing the same things, saying the same things. So I'm treating them as one, and I always like them. But Ron, he's my favorite, obviously. Twins are probably second.
Yeah. Good
But
favorites.
I don't know. As far as the least favorite, Percy. Yeah, Bill and Charlie are cool. Can't hate on them. Ginny's just like a non-entity
cool.
though. Like
Yeah.
she's just around.
Yeah.
Like I feel bad for her with what happened, you know, with
She's
the
the only
basilisk,
girl
but-
too, though, right? I
I
don't
know, I feel for her.
Yeah, that's a rough spot to be. You're
And
right.
she's the baby.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, the only girl and the baby. It's
Yeah,
rough.
That's a combo.
Yeah.
But they don't even seem to care about her.
I know.
But they're not spoiling her that much, which usually you do with the youngest girl. And if it's like
Yeah,
your last
right.
kid, you'd spoil, like, especially a girl, but
Or
not
like, it
her.
doesn't even seem like the boys are that protective over her,
Mm.
too. Like
Mm.
Harry is more protective over her,
Yeah.
it seemed. They just got upset when they heard bad things, but it's not like they're, I don't know, maybe I'm forgetting something.
That's actually really. I think you're right. Actually, I don't think Ron is that protective over her. I think the twins maybe a little bit, and I think maybe protective isn't the right word, but like protective in their own way because they're fun and cheerful. So I remember in the first book when Ginny was super sad that they were leaving, Fred and George is like, "Don't worry, we'll send you home a toilet bowl or something like that because they're
right.
gonna blow up a
Yeah.
toilet." Like funny things like that. I really
caring,
love. It maybe doesn't show their protective side so much, but it just shows that they want to make their sister happier.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think
Wait,
you're
Jen,
right.
did you say your favorite Weasley or least favorite?
No.
So who are they?
Probably the same that you were saying. But I also thought Bill was really fun. He was the one with the long hair, piercing.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, I feel like there were certain lines that he said, and I can't remember any of them, but like they were. And then Harry just being like, he was cool.
It was a great description.
I love that description. I use that description. But yeah, Ron.
Yeah.
And then the twins are fun. Sometimes they annoy me.
When do they annoy
Do they?
you?
It's just like they're so much. They joke around so much that like I'm like, I don't know. It just
You want them to be
You're
a
like
little more
Mrs.
serious?
Weasley. You're like, get more OWLs. Like start crushing life.
I don't know. Maybe I'm combining though, like the movie version, and it's like you were saying, it's like one person, and they're just like.
And in the movie, it comes
Right.
off like a little too much for me, where they're
Yeah.
like every line is they're saying it together
So
and
then
stuff.
maybe that's where I'm combining the two. But I'm like, you guys are fun, but like annoying too.
Yeah.
Well, that's my opinion.
But I think of them as being like Willy Wonkas. They're like crazy geniuses. Like I don't think of them as having a lot of close friends, but everybody likes them. So when they're off like in the corner over a parchment, like doing crazy things, I'm like, I don't know what they're inventing, all this weird stuff. And like, it's a little strange, but I like it. And it feels like okay that they're kind of at a distance. I'm like, we're never going to really get to know them that well. They're always going to be a little bit aloof, a little out there, a little crazy. But they're really smart, clearly.
Yeah.
If they can coast through school like this
Yeah.
and do things teachers don't even know they're doing. And like,
That's true.
There are those people that would like drop out of school and go have this completely successful business for what they're doing. Like they don't need that. They're definitely those types where they don't get enough OWLs. Like they fail out of school, but they're still going to be unbelievably successful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg types, except less creepy.
Wait, I didn't do my favorite.
Yeah, who's your favorite?
I was trying to figure. I mean, I love Mrs. Weasley.
There you are knitting sweaters, just
I
like
know.
Miss Weasley.
I am her. I'm channeling her. I
You
don't
got the
know.
red hair.
I
You're
know.
no Weasley.
Whoa.
That makes me happy. I'm dancing. I mean, with the kids, I love Ron. Probably because we get so much of him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm gonna go with Mrs. Weasley. I just love her. The motherly feeling.
Yeah.
I think for the amount that we get of him, I think Ron's probably my favorite, but I think Mr. is mine. There's something.
Yeah.
He's like an idiot. Yeah, he's like an idiot through it. Like he doesn't do the right thing for a lot of things, but he is just a great balancing force to his wife, and he's like a kid. He's great. I love him. He's not good at his job, but he's just a kid. I love him. And then we find out about some different schools, Durmstrang and Beauxbaton. We learned about Beauxbaton earlier, but which would you rather go to? You don't know that much about them right now. Maybe even just based on the names and the locations.
I do not want to freeze.
I do not want to go to the far north and freeze.
And just learn about the dark arts. See, like that sounds like it could be fun with the right crew, but I'm just figuring everyone else who's going there is probably not the best. So then you're going to school with all these people that just want to learn about the dark arts. Like,
but then why do they have that? It just seems weird.
It does seem weird.
Because I feel like they're training for dark wizards.
And then the houses, that's a Hogwarts thing. But does that extend to other schools? Because we know Slytherins, a lot of dark wizards come from Slytherin. Mm-hmm. But what about that whole school?
I know.
Like, is that just a school where dark wizards come from? What's the data on that? You know, like... Are they churning out dark wizards, or do these people just go on to do normal Ministry of Magic stuff and they're just very knowledgeable? Yeah. And we don't know anything about it. So it gives me weird vibes. Like we're supposed to hate everyone from that school and they're all dark wizards with bad intentions. But are they? Maybe we'll meet them and we'll like them.
Is weird that they're teaching them how to do it. Whereas Hogwarts is just like, the defense against it. Like, how is that comparable?
But the only person who gave us an alternative was Malfoy, who's like, we don't want to just defend against it. We want to learn it. And we're like, okay, well, if Malfoy's saying it, it's probably ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But his mom wanted him closer. That's the only reason he was at Hogwarts. Because his mom couldn't deal with the distance.
Where did his dad go? Hogwarts? Malfoy's dad. Do we know?
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't really know yet. I guess Hogwarts. I feel like there's a tradition for that family that they would go to Hogwarts too. It kind of feels like that old-timey family.
Like the Slytherin house, and they want the like mudbloods out or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that across the board? Like, I'm not even sure how I want to word this. So this other school, what was the school that we were talking about? The
Durmstrang.
Yeah. Like, are they... Since they, I'm just tying two things together that I think is weird. Like, I'm tying the dark arts with wanting to kill any like mudbloods, or like they want just like pure.
That's a great question. I think
pure blood wizards and witches. So I guess in my mind, I'm like, okay, so then maybe do they connect? And then if so, then maybe that school you can only have pure blood wizards there and witches.
That would make a lot of sense if there was a school that did that. But I almost think of Hogwarts as being the stuffy, old school, old ways place. And I'm imagining there's a progressive school somewhere else that has left the old ways a little farther behind, might be a little more okay with technology, like just more progressive in general. And maybe they're like, house-elves have been illegal here for a long, long time. And like... I don't know, in all of the things that we're being a little skeptical of at Hogwarts, maybe they have a better safety record. So I'm picturing Hogwarts as being the
I would
closest.
hope they have a better safety record than Hogwarts.
It couldn't be worse. But we also, in these chapters, we're finding out students were dying during the thing. I'm like, well, that explains it. There's just a cultural thing with wizards that like death is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, sometimes students die. That's how it goes. But the rest of the students learn from it. Like it's just
or
so
they're there
odd.
forever. Like
yeah, and they can just be a ghost, if they really have the willpower. There's a whole class on it, how to become a ghost when you die at a tournament here.
You can haunt a cubicle in the bathroom if you want. Harry could have haunted the Quidditch pitch 3 books in a row. So he could have died every single year on the Quidditch pitch.
That's true. Yeah.
But Hogwarts is hidden, and Hermione explains this to Ron, saying, if Hogwarts is hidden, said Hermione as a surprise, everyone who's read Hogwarts a history, anyway, knows that. Just you then, said Ron. And she goes, if a muggle looks at it, all they see is a moldering old ruin with a sign over the entrance saying, danger, do not enter, unsafe. Is that sign going to keep you guys out?
No.
Make me want to go in even more.
To me, that's ridiculous. That sign is never going to keep anyone out.
Shaking my head. I'm not going past
a moldering ruin. Oh, that looks incredible. Little danger. No trespassing. Keep out sign. Rip that thing in half or just bypass it and go right into it.
But then if they were to go into it, like, is it still empty looking? I wondered. Like,
I feel like it would be, right?
That's what I think.
And wouldn't they do some of those same charms they had at the World Cup where it just like someone comes up with like, oh, whoops, forgot something. I left the stove on, and then they turn around and leave. But if they pushed through, I feel like they still would just wander around some ruins.
Yeah. It is interesting, the kind of particular magic that you have to do that too. So like, why is there, maybe there's some anatomical difference between wizards and muggles, because why does a wizard not get like forgetful over something that they've done if they walk into the Quidditch World Cup? But why does a muggle do? So there has to be some kind of weird difference between the two in their mind, that like a spell can either work for muggles or a spell can just only work for muggles, which I don't understand. But it's like a weird thing. So why, if a muggle's eyes looks at the castle, do they see ruins?
You're right.
But a wizard's eyes, when they look at the castle, they don't.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
understand.
Maybe the wizards
weird.
are using more parts of their brain.
Yeah.
You know how we only use like 10%
of their brain.
A muggle family is
They're
hiking
enlightened.
and the
I don't
kid
know.
says, look at that gigantic castle. And the parents are like, it's just a couple of bricks. It's been torn down for 1,000 years. And the kid's like, it's not a couple bricks. It's magnificent. Look at this whole thing. And
That's
then
so cool.
the kid just starts walking into school and the parents are like, where'd he just go?
Yeah,
I don't know, I think that'd
seriously.
be funny.
That would
But
be so
instead
cool.
they're throwing Neville out of a window to see if he's a wizard
Yeah, I
or
know.
not.
Just
Poor
take
Neville.
the
There's
gotta
train
be
to
something
Hogwarts.
you can do,
Do
right?
you see this? Okay, yeah.
Great,
Okay,
you're
great.
in.
We'll see you in 5 years.
That is so interesting.
Anyway, we learn of the this charm called the summoning charm here. What do you think of the summoning charm? How do you like it? How practical
Like,
would that be?
How do,
Wait, what is the summoning
I
charm?
Summoning charm again?
have a question.
I feel like we didn't know what it
Accio.
was.
Oh, that's right.
It's Accio. And so they use it. What is she summon here? I think Hermione summoned something.
Wait, that's not the broken glass one.
No,
that's
it's
later.
Reparo.
She summoned something.
That'd be so nice, you know, when you're sitting down.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, I just sat down and I need that thing across the room.
Yeah. Because that happens to me all the time. Or then you like go grab that thing and you sit down again and you're like, oh, like
I
my
forgot
tea's in the
this.
other room. I got to grab my tea. Just be like, Accio,
Yeah.
Accio, Accio. Everything just
I'd be
flies.
doing
to you.
that all the time.
That'd be so great. Would you guys wear Ron's robes?
Well, we're
The ladies.
female.
His dress robes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah. Jen and I look at each other. Yeah. Would you? Or Danny?
Oh yeah.
I think so. Well, I feel
Well,
like
you
Rolling
said
in
yes?
style.
Yeah.
I didn't think you would say yes. I'm like, this one I think would wear anything.
I got a little standards. I went to work as a pirate on Tuesday, so yeah. I
That's incredible.
mean, it was a Halloween thing, you know, the whole, yeah, you saw.
It was Halloween?
I was gonna
Are
say,
you
was it
sure?
that?
Well, but celebrating on a Tuesday is a little odd, right? I'm
It
like,
is.
I'm going to be the only person wearing a costume. And I pretty much was. So,
You were?
anyways. Oh, yeah. No one else in my department wore even the slightest bit of a costume.
And
And
you were-
even on my floor, the only people who wore costumes were the people who were organizing the whole carnival thing. Like the people who work for the facilities, not for the bank. And I was like, this is so weird.
Do you get any bonus for wearing the costume or anything?
I like to think the bonus was earning respect. Even though, in
gosh.
fact, I think it was the opposite.
I should have gotten a prize for it.
Yeah, there was some costume contest, maybe, but I had to work through most of the carnival, so I missed it. But the point is, I would have worn Ron's robes, but I feel like as a Weasley, he would have learned the confidence by now.
Yeah, agreed.
But he is not confident. Like his brothers probably could have rocked this. This would have become the stylish robe. It would have been vintage. Other people would have wanted a robe like this. But Ron, he still is ashamed of like his family, and being poor is still a weak point for him.
Mm-hmm.
So when Malfoy presses that button, he just caves every time and gets angry.
Yeah.
And I just want to see Ron embrace that and just say, like, you know what? This is what I have, and it's great. I love it. Done. And then Malfoy has no power over him, but Ron's the one giving Malfoy that power.
I know.
I'm like, oh, Ron, but it's such a teenage thing to do. I would have probably done the same thing. So I get it, but I feel bad for him. I want to see him like grow.
He just needs like a little stroke of confidence.
Yep.
When we went to a museum a few weeks ago, and that exhibit with all the clothing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Ooh, those licorice wands are hitting me now. And I remember walking in and seeing those two, like they were like British dummies dressed up, but they were male dummies. All the rest of them were female exhibits, but the male ones were dressed in like super old, like waiter, like I feel like 1600 high society. I'm like, give me that. I want to wear that to like the next, I don't know, ball.
Yeah.
Because we're having so many balls.
But how dope would that be? Everyone else is wearing like give me like the Met Gala. Someone wear one of those old things like that. That would look so cool to me.
Yeah.
I did this for my junior senior.
I was just gonna say that,
but it wasn't great. I like if I could go back, I would have done it even like more.
I have no idea what this means.
Like
junior,
a prom.
Senior.
Prom. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was on the junior senior prom.
Yeah, you two are on the same level. I'm like, well, I don't know what that means. Sorry.
So me and another friend, Alphonse, we went out to this thrift store nearby because we were gonna just get the most ridiculous outfits that we could. But Alphonse already had a suit, so I was like, okay, great, I'm gonna get some ridiculous stuff. I didn't know what a suit looked like. Turns out his suit was just all white, and it was like a fine looking suit. It was like a nice suit. And meanwhile, I grab I'm like gonna pull up the most ridiculous thing. So I grab a green jacket. I still have the full outfit. A green jacket, a like blue, yellow, and red checkered shirt, a like ugly deep red tie, yellow pants, blue shoes. I forgot what like else I had.
You wore this to your prom?
And a green, like a bright green vest or a bright red vest. And I wore this to my junior senior prom, just like rocked it. I have a picture. I have like long hair too. So like I had like a mop top.
Wait, we need to see this picture.
I feel like you need to post that on Reddit. So
I'm going to throw that on
the way I'm
Reddit.
picturing it sounds like a clown.
Yeah,
So
I look
many
like
colors.
a clown. I kind of look like
was
a clown.
awesome though.
And I just like had no shame.
Yeah.
I was like walking up and people were like, this is ridiculous. I didn't have a date. And I was just like, I'm just going to rock this. And
You didn't have a date?
Well, he's like, I'm not going to have a date.
How surprising is that?
He's like, I don't have a date. All eyes on me, though.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how we're rolling in.
I think for our class, I don't think anybody really showed up with a date unless you were like actually dating someone. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of the thing.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people would go like as friends, kind of, but then everyone would just like, you know, someone gets a limo or someone like everyone would just go together. There'd be like 8 people all going together. It didn't feel like it was, not everyone was just getting coupled up for this thing. So it felt like it was really low pressure, and we didn't even have dancing at the junior senior. So it wasn't like the most romantic environment. It basically just felt like all of us are just friends hanging out. So yeah, I don't think it was that weird.
Ridiculously.
Yeah, it's like a great excuse just for dress insanely. Oh, that was a fun time though. I'll throw the picture on our subreddit. On chapter 12 though, the Triwizard tournament, where we find out what? Give me a summary of this chapter. Or, I mean, anything else, obviously. You guys saw in the previous chapter, let me know. Danny, usually like halfway through.
Wait, we're at the end of the podcast.
There's another thing.
Well, there was a thing here where Charlie said, I might see you later.
Ooh.
I was just going to say that.
And I was like, oh, he's going to be the defense against the dark arts teacher?
Could you
And I was like,
imagine? That
he's
would've
not
been
qualified.
amazing.
And then I was like, he might take over Hagrid's position for magical creatures because he would be qualified to do that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so cool. I'm like, Hogwarts is starting a dragon program. And I got all excited about all these like theories. And then I was like, nah, all right, never mind.
That would be
Is that
so
what you
cool.
wrote down?
I
I just
it
wrote
was,
the quote.
Right. It's like kind of a funny thing that he said that.
Yeah.
And of course we still don't know why, but we're just assuming he's coming for the Triwizard
tournament.
Triwizard tournament. Yeah.
good, but maybe there's dragons, which is why he's bringing it.
That would explain him being there. Yeah.
Whatever. Maybe he's there. He's bringing dragons there.
Ooh.
It's part of the cup.
Do you think that's part
Goblet.
of the cup?
What is it? It could be. I have no
Yeah, that
idea
makes
what
sense.
it is. I feel like it's I kind of read the summary of the book.
Oh, of course.
Shocking.
Are they going to bring are
But
they
it
going to
doesn't
bring
go
Norbert?
that detail.
From
Oh my
chapter-
gosh,
From
that
book
would
1?
That'd be funny. Say hi to your first dad. Hi, Daddy.
Chapter 12, Triwizard Tournament. What happens in this chapter?
Go for it, Kristen.
Why me? I just did one.
All right, cool. I'll do it. Let me just get there. I'm just slow. Chapter
It's when
12.
they go to school and they're doing. Harry finally gets to hear the Sorting Hat. They sing that song. The Sorting Hat sings that song. That was great. Was great from Jim Dale. Harry. What is it? And then they learn about the Triwizard tournament instead of the Quidditch World Cup. Quidditch Cup for the houses. It is going to be replaced by something else, and then they kind of they don't really explain it actually.
Yeah,
a little bit,
not much,
but not much. And that the other schools are going to be coming to stay with them until the cup.
Perfect. And
tournament.
We meet Mad-Eye Mooney. Or maybe we don't actually meet him, but we find out he's going to be the teacher.
Or is that the
he
end?
makes an entrance.
Yeah, I think
this is where he makes the entrance. All right, good.
Okay.
I just saw that the next chapter was called Mad-Eye Moody, and I thought, maybe
and
we
Harry
don't meet him
keeps
yet.
noticing.
Sorry.
What?
Oh,
that girl,
Joe.
Oh yes.
Oh.
Crush confirmed.
He wanted to go sit next to her for
he's
some
like,
reason.
I want to be a Ravenclaw all of a sudden, right?
For a brief moment.
Oh, Harry.
Pitter patter.
No, I was going to say Mad-Eye interrupts Dumbledore.
Right, that was in this chapter. Yeah, where he comes storming in. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, this is like the good chapter. This is the Great Hall. They have the feast, the sorting, all this fun, great stuff. But it opens up and they go into the carriages and they reach the school and it's raining. And then as soon as they walk in, water balloons right on their head. Do you guys like Peeves?
No.
What do you think about Peeves?
He's annoying.
I don't understand him. Makes no sense. What motivates this guy?
Right.
Water balloons? What a silly thing to do.
Right.
Why water balloons?
I actually commented on this because I was annoyed. Right. I'm like, he's like, not like I wanted to say like a toddler, but I'm like, not even a toddler. He's just a bully.
Right.
Because he's torturing these students walking in.
And it's weird to me that McGonagall can't threaten him directly. It has to threaten to get Dumbledore.
Yeah.
So Peeves is probably, I don't know if powerful, but at least resistant to most magic. McGonagall can't come up with something to get him to go away.
Well, there's only one, I don't know what chapter that is.
The Bloody Baron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That can control him.
Yeah.
Because it was that. I think the Bloody Baron was one that was the only person that really can control him. Yeah. Which is very toddler-like. Like, no one else can control this except like one or two people.
Right.
You know?
He's just insane.
Yeah, he's a weird character in these books. I don't quite understand him.
He's to the Gryffindor house, Peeves, or he's in the... I think I get them confused.
Is he everywhere? Isn't he everywhere?
He's not a ghost. He's the poltergeist. So it's like a ghostish version, but it's like a physical ghost. I don't know how to really describe it. He's a poltergeist, which I still don't understand. People have explained this to me and I still don't understand
it. It's a ghost that can move stuff?
Yeah.
Like, but also can go through stuff.
Yeah.
And you could go through him. It's not like he's a solid entity.
Right. You can go through him.
But he's like a lot of the other ghosts where he kind of just roams the castle and he wreaks havoc. The other ghosts don't, but he's just like the court jester of the ghosts, I guess.
I forgot that Nearly Headless Nick was a Gryffindor. And then the Bloody Baron is a Slytherin.
Well, he's a Slytherin ghost. They weren't
So
Slytherins.
they each have a ghost. Yeah. But
that's
is
what I was
Peeves
trying to get
one
at.
of those? Is he a...
Do you know
who are the others? I forget who Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw were.
I think it mentions the Hufflepuff one right now. I don't think we know what the Ravenclaw is.
That is funny, right?
It's kind of like, I don't mind it. It is a little weird. Like the ghost of Gryffindor Tower is Nearly Headless Nick, and then the Bloody Baron is Slytherins. Hufflepuff's is the Fat Friar, and it mentioned that once, very briefly, barely mentioned it, where it said like the Fat Friar was at a Hufflepuff table, saying something or did something but we don't know who the Ravenclaw one is yet.
Interesting.
That one's a mystery and anomaly, kind of. So it's like fun little tidbits. Like she just builds the world really well here.
Yeah.
Just like ghosts. Let me throw a ghost in there. Let me throw a poltergeist in there. People won't understand what the heck this is. I don't understand what it is, but he's going to throw water balloons on the students as soon as they walk in. What was the best prank that you guys have ever pulled? You got a good
I'm
one?
laughing. No, I don't have one. I'm just laughing because I'm like, you two are gonna have good ones.
Well, yeah.
I
I just made a face because I'm like, have I ever pulled
we're
a prank?
both followers, so yeah, we definitely did such great pranks.
I wasn't a
I don't know if
prankster
I
actually.
ever pulled a prank.
Huh.
Other than like as a kid putting a whoopee cushion under the chair.
Hey, that's a prank.
That's the best I got.
That's a great start.
It started and ended there in my childhood.
I mean, I don't consider it a prank. I like made up a character, and my friends thought he was real.
Oh,
Is this an imaginary friend? Or what do you mean, made up a character?
Are we talking like last week or
Fake boyfriend? Or are you saying you made a Facebook profile for someone so you could play games with them, you know?
No, this was back old school where we had no internet.
Nice.
I did this with, and Danny got mad at me for doing this in 5th grade when I did it with Chris, and we had a secret language. And we were just like, it was like a babbly, like we would just babble to each other, and we had like this weird little laugh that we would do, and everyone else got mad because we're like, we would pretend that we could understand each other, and then all of a sudden Danny comes up with this elaborate thing. He's like, okay, so he like brings Chris to one side of the thing. He's like, say something to John in the language that you want it, and tell me what it is. And then he comes over to me and he says it, and we
I was like, we're gonna put this to the test.
I love
Danny shut it
Oh,
down.
I'm gonna prove you
You
wrong.
do not have a language unless we can all learn it.
That was so funny. Oh my gosh.
Oh, goodness,
But I
it's
think
so
like we
dumb.
ended up getting you into it, so I think
yeah,
you,
and then I was like, all right, then I'm included. Yeah, it's a language.
oh, that
All
was
is well
so
with the world.
funny.
yeah. Oh, it's
Kids
so
are
great.
so funny to me.
Yeah.
Let's just
Yep.
pretend like we have another language.
I don't know why we did it. It was just like we're friends. Let's just make up a language.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so fun.
mine was ridiculous too.
Yeah, give us the
one-
info on yours.
It was Santa's elf. His name was Czech, and like my friends believed he was. I don't know how they believed me.
What?
I was like, you have to write a letter, what you want or whatever. You put it in your closet, and then Czech comes and gets it
No
and brings
way.
it to Santa. And then I put a phone number in there, and I was on the other line.
What
being
in the
Santa.
Wait, how old were you guys that they believed this?
This is a
I
great
don't
prank.
remember. I was elementary school because
Oh,
I did it to
okay.
Danielle.
Wow, that's
And she
amazing.
believed me. And then I did it to my other
What?
friend, Jacqueline, and she believed it too. And it was calling the North Pole, and it was so ridiculous.
That's amazing.
And then I was too far in. I didn't think anyone would believe it.
Sure.
And then I was like, oh my gosh. And I
That's
don't
so
know how
good.
they did it. Like, I'd have to like make up a story to like, oh, I just have to go to the bathroom. I'd go read their letter, write a response, put it back in.
oh, you were fully dedicated.
Wow.
This is unbelievable. This is so good.
You like became Santa.
No, they never got any gifts.
That's the start of a Christmas movie right there.
Yeah, they're like pleading their hearts out. They're like, "Can I have this gift?" And this
You
gift?
start
And Jen's
saving
like,
up money
yeah,
so you
sure.
can buy them presents.
Oh my God.
The joke's on you.
It was ridiculous.
That is wonderful.
And then they were telling their parents about it.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
amazing.
That is
And then
so
when they have
good.
kids, they're going to tell their kids about it. Their kids believe in Santa Claus and Czech.
Aw,
You don't know
Well,
about Czech?
Elf on the Shelf. It was Czech before that.
Ooh, nice.
you started it. Good job.
Missed opportunity for a
Yeah.
$1 million business.
That's so good.
I forget if I told the story of that time with the string on the eraser and whatever, but I'm also thinking of the blue cube time where
Ooh, yeah.
a bunch of friends, we were skating behind this like gymnastics facility by my house. I didn't even know that's what it was, but it was a big open parking lot, and we saw a bunch of garbage bags. And you know me, I love thrift stores. I can't miss an opportunity to dumpster dive. And so at some point we saw that they were like really soft. They were jumping into this dumpster because it was like you could just land in it. We opened it up and we saw that it was like all of the foam blocks from a gymnastics foam pit. And we had been planning a prank at school already. And the idea was to fill part of the school with something. We thought balloons, crumpled up newspaper. The idea is you need bulk of something to fill a space, because we have these double glass doors that there was this big space we wanted to fill with something. And then we found these blue cubes and thought, this is it. This is it. This is what we need. So we spent like so many trips with these trucks and vans and trailers, bringing all of this to my friend's house to put it under his deck, where we waited about a week. And then we took it from his deck in the middle of the night and filled a hallway at school. So at the end of the day, I had to go into a classroom and unlock a window. So I left
I was part of that. I wasn't part of the night crew. I was part of the crew that unlocked the window for you to get in.
So like we had to like plan our steps, you know, so we knew we could get in. So, you know, we left the window unlocked, and we had to like leave a vocab book in the classroom so we get maintenance to let us in so we could unlock the window and know that nobody else was going to come in and lock it again. And then we also didn't want anyone to find it at the beginning. The maintenance crew comes in 5 a.m., 6 a.m. They see it. It could be cleaned up before anyone gets there. So we wanted it to be where it wasn't a fire hazard, it wouldn't cause a mess, and it wouldn't be discovered until kids were there. So sure enough, like it was in this hallway where all of the lockers were, but it was like this C-shaped hallway, and in the back you couldn't see it unless you actually went back there. So it didn't get discovered till right before school. And then they had to kind of say, we can't send any kids there. So they sent us all to the gym. And we just had to wait. And I don't remember how much we missed. It was probably like, 40 minutes or something. We're just sitting there. And we're all like giddy about it. We're like, this is so great. Teacher comes in, one of these tough guy teachers, and he just like looks up at me in the stands and he points to me, calls me down. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I get down there and he's like, I'm not saying you did it, but if you didn't, you know who did. I was like, shoot. And I was like, I don't know. I played coy and it was fine. But then I still helped clean it up, and then we got sandwiches for the maintenance guys and blah, blah, blah. But mission accomplished. I thought that was cool.
Aww.
I remember the maintenance guys loved that, because it wasn't like a prank where they were cleaning up water or something like that future classes did. Like I remember they were like had tons of garbage bags, and I remember they were like laughing and joking about it as they were cleaning them out. I remember they just having a great time.
Yep. Because it was like just the right level of funny where nobody was going to get mad about it. And that was the key. I feel like it came from a good place, but we were nervous. We're like, we don't want to get expelled or anything crazy, you know?
Could you imagine?
Is this like a senior prank thing? Is this what you're talking about?
Oh yeah. And the kicker too is that that was phase 2 of our prank. Phase 1 was going to each of the teachers' houses and forking and TPing their lawns so that the teachers also woke up to a surprise at their homes before coming to school. But don't worry, we left them each a note explaining it and saying if they were upset to leave it, and we would clean it up the next night. Nobody took us up on that. But we wanted it to be like lighthearted. We weren't trying to make anyone mad. But that was pretty funny.
You knew where all your teachers lived.
I knew where a few lived, and then I did some very creepy Googling and only found one of these teachers because they had to apply for a permit and go to the town to get the variance, and it came up on a town record. And the next day, when I finally like admitted to it, she was like, I have to know, how did you find us? And I was like, oh, this is so creepy. And then my other teacher, Mr. Olson, we just followed him home from school.
Dedication.
He lived far away. We're in my parents' van. We're just like flying down the highway, and eventually he stops for gas, and we didn't know where to go, so we just pulled off at the gas station, and we all like get low in the car. We're like, this is so weird. Well, we found his house. So yep.
That's dedication.
It was a lot of dedication.
Wow.
Well, I have a story. My brother did a senior prank. His class. They made the newspaper and everything.
Oh my
goodness. It was a
goodness.
slip and slide. So in between, I think they had the whole grade involved, almost. And they all had soap in their lockers. And I guess they chose a time, and everyone at the same time went to their lockers and just put soap. I think they planned for one section, but it went crazy. It spread, and like everyone just went everywhere. And
enough of that.
Teachers were trying to stop them, and they couldn't because they were falling.
Yeah. No wonder maintenance was laughing about our prank.
Break anything?
I don't remember. I don't know, but they made the newspaper.
Oh my goodness.
So for them, they were like, mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's
bad.
hilarious.
That was a bad grade from when they were like in middle school.
Oh, the cleanup on that must have been so miserable.
Yes. Yeah, those janitors are
Like, how many times do you have to go over
You
that?
have to go over it with water so many times.
Yeah. Especially
Like,
depending
there's
on
I
sticky
can't remember if
floors
they did it at the end of
forever.
the day or what, but
Ugh.
they definitely had to send everyone home.
Like
after
our
that.
class was a lighthearted. Like the teachers loved us. So like we would do anything, and they'd be like, "Oh, it's a joke. We know you guys are good." But future classes, they would do other stuff, and they're like, they hated when future classes would prank because they knew it was out of like spite or something. Oh my gosh. Oh, that was fun. So the sorting hat says this, and we kind of listened to Jim Dale earlier, but it says this in the very last line. Now slip me snug around your ears. I've never yet been wrong. I'll have a look inside your mind and tell where you belong. As Jim Dale
that was
Nice.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, you nailed it.
He had
So he says he's never yet been wrong.
Bold.
Yeah. Is that, first of all, that's a bold statement. Second of all, do you agree? Because Harry, he even says in the Chamber of Secrets, you would have done well in Slytherin. Do you think he was wrong about Harry?
I kind of think you can't be wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
subjective.
yeah, like it's kind of like what I'm feeling is each house shapes somebody a little bit based on who you're with, but like, can you be wrong? I mean, Harry could have been great in Slytherin, but wouldn't that be true for everybody? Like, they could be great wherever they are. Like, whatever you're going to be regardless of house. And the house is like a Hogwarts thing. Maybe not other schools as much, or they each have their own houses. And then do you consider yourself a Gryffindor when you graduate and you start a job? You know, people at the Ministry of Magic, do they have Gryffindor stickers on the bumper of their brooms? You know, like, I don't know. You know, it just feels like
they'll only hire a Gryffindor.
Yeah, ooh, nice. They the whole department's like, yeah, we're all Gryffindors except for that guy over there.
Well, I still really love, I think Jen's theory, one of the first episodes that we talked about this, is still one of my favorites, that they should wait to sort people.
Yeah.
Because they really don't know who people are yet.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like the sorting hat gets thrown on your head, and it's, okay, it's a stupid little hat to tell you where you belong, but it's like typing someone too quickly. You don't really know who that kid is. Even Harry's changed a lot over the last few books. So he's become a different person. I meant being in Gryffindor definitely shapes him a lot too, but I really love that idea.
I guess I also don't know, how does it really shape you though? Just because everyone in your house is the same personality as you? Or because like they're all going the same classes. They're all friends with each other. It's not like they're only in their common room with their house for like months at a time. So like, I guess I don't get,
like, what would it even look like to be wrong?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh, I've never been wrong. Would we know if he was?
Yeah.
But like, would you even know? I mean, maybe there's certain characteristics, but would you be able to like all of a sudden be like, oh yeah, that is a Ravenclaw. Like, you're definitely that, just because of what their personality trait?
Yeah,
That's
I don't
what
know.
I guess I'm trying
That's
to.
a great question.
Someone could argue he was wrong about Neville up to this point.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he's not brave.
Yeah. Yep. Or wrong about Harry because he would make a good Slytherin.
I think there's something in it too where I almost wish one of the first headmasters of Hogwarts just dropped the idea of the founders and what they valued in a student. Okay, yeah, you can have 4 houses, but forget about the idea that Slytherins are ambitious and evil. Forget about, sorry, Tom, right?
Tony.
No.
Tony, sorry,
Yeah.
Tony. Tom, Tony.
Riddle.
Yeah, Tom Riddle, exactly. Sorry, Tom, too.
Yes, of course.
Drop the idea that Gryffindors are brave, because that can become a person's whole identity rather than letting them form around who their friends are. So, like, you might have that idea in the back of your head, like, maybe that's locked away in a vault, like, these students are who they are in these houses. But the house... The sorting hat shouldn't be singing, if you're in Gryffindor, you're going to be brave. In Hufflepuff, you're pretty much just a hard worker. That's pretty much all you got. Like, just don't tell people the characteristic traits of that house and just let them be sorted into 4 random houses that they have no real idea. And they become who they are in those houses.
Yep.
I think Ilvermorny does this too, but their houses are they prize different things than Hogwarts does. So it's a bit more abstract though.
And even power hungry Slytherins, I don't like it because it feels like then you're making it about a negative thing. Like being power hungry is not a good thing. Being ambitious is good. So saying power hungry, I'm like, oh man, even the hat is like hating on Slytherins. Yeah. And in front of all the freshmen, then who wants to be a Slytherin at that point? Yeah. Some Slytherins might, but I feel like you got to make it a little more broad, a little more like they're all positive in their own way. They're all negative in their own way.
Yeah, for real. What are your guys' thoughts on Dennis Greavy?
Oh, is that the brother?
Yeah.
He cracked me up.
He's so cute.
Yeah, he is cute.
I know. I was like, he was thrilled about falling in the water. Who would be thrilled?
I
Not me.
love this kid. Like, I definitely would not be thrilled about falling in the water either, but the idea that he is giddy over a squid, like putting him back on the boat, like, oh my gosh, I love it. He's wearing Hagrid's big, huge
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He is like such a good character. I love him.
He does feel like a Gryffindor.
Yeah.
He loves the adventure of it. He's not, he's just along for the ride.
And so does his brother too, Colin. Yeah. Feels like a true Gryffindor, just really soaking the experience and really living for adventure and very brave too. Like even the bravery that they have of being as bold as they are to ask questions and like, look, hey, there's Harry Potter. They're both looking at him like that takes actual bravery to be able to do that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they're great. I love them. What are your thoughts on Hogwarts having house elves?
It seems like Hermione is the only one that cares, though, or like notices.
What? No, sorry.
What did you say?
Oh, I said I'm not looking forward to playing devil's advocate on this one.
I know, we're looking at Jen and I were looking at each other having our own conversation.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. Say that again.
That Hermione seems to be the only one that cares about this. No one else seems to even.
It seems like the norm in the whole wizarding world.
But then I wonder too, is it because she comes from like a Muggle family? Like only?
Oh, maybe.
But I'm sure there's others that have been through the school that might. I don't know.
Hermione sometimes seems the only cognizant one too. In the other chapter that we get it, where she's upset over the lesson, all the other students are super thrilled, and Harry's upset about it. Neville's upset about it, but Hermione is really like the one that's righteously upset about it, where it just doesn't bother her. It's like this was wrong of a lesson to have. So she seems like one of the only cognizant, really conscious people at the castle. All the other students are just going with the flow. I'm curious what the Creevy brothers think of this.
The Creevy brothers.
Any other thoughts on Hogwarts having a house elves?
Yeah, I'm down. That's how it's always been. Just keep it going.
Ron.
Well, I never even I never even thought about that until it came up. Because then remember we kept saying like, oh, do they just like do a spell and food appears, or like
is there a kitchen somewhere?
Spells and stuff. And then sometimes I'm like, well, why don't they just have a spell all the time, just like going and like cooking? And why do they have to have elves doing it? Like, why can't
but like
it just be
the
magic?
house elves could be doing that too. Like
that's true.
And it's 100 of them, 800 people. That's like a pretty good maintenance team ratio.
You said
800 students. That's what we were kind of speculating was the population at Hogwarts. And that would include teachers too, but that was only based on the Quidditch and the section. So we're still not positive, but about 800 people at Hogwarts. So yeah, I mean, 100 elves to support 800 people. I feel like they'd have some comfortable shifts. Reasonable life, work-life balance.
It's just like, where did they come from though? Like, where these
that's what we don't understand.
Founders, the ones that are like, oh, I'm good. Were they friends with the elves? And they're like, oh, we'll help you. We'll have you stay here, and you can help us start up the school. And then it's like,
and do they procreate? Was it just 2? And then it's now a gigantic family of house elves?
Were there rabbits?
Well, I mean, it's over the course of 1,000 years, I guess. So, 1,400 years? I forget when it started. So then I'm just like, something about it. But it's back to the sentience thing. Like, are they fully independent creatures that can think for themselves and could thrive if they were fully independent on their own? Or do they need structure and guidance, and they're kind of, I don't know. I don't want to be like harsh about it. We just don't understand them yet. So, but I'm even thinking the Sorting Hat. What if he didn't want to be a Sorting Hat? What if he wants to be a top hat and go to balls?
Yeah.
He's stuck being a Sorting Hat, you know? So let's say you start enchanting all these things and you're giving them sentient. It's like, you're like, I want a bunch of Sorting Hats to write me music that I can go to sleep to. Or I want them to write me poetry, and then I will start selling their poetry books to the wizarding world. Well, now you've got a bunch of Sorting Hat poetry making like critters working for you. But at what point do then they deserve their own freedom?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Is it a computer? Is it a calculator, a tool, something that is working for you without its own independent sentience? Or is it something more like where they need freedom and we should fight for that?
Yeah, where they're actually enslaved.
Yeah. And that's what we don't really understand yet about house elves. And I'm not sure. And we made the husky comparison about like a sled dog, that they just love doing that. And so Winky is the husky, the one saying she loves doing house elf things, and to do anything else seems like torture. It is a threat. Freedom is a threat. She does not want that. She loves what she's doing. Loves, like, to some deep level. But that was not the case for Dobby. He celebrated his freedom. He was being abused. I don't know.
But I feel like Winky's not being treated right either. I feel like it's their perspective of how they're being treated and how they're reacting to it. I think Winky probably likes the tasks because that keeps her out of trouble.
Right.
You know? And that's, again, like we've said, that's all she knows. That's all they know. So, I don't know. I haven't formed a full...
We like Dumbledore. I feel like I just have a hard time picturing Dumbledore being down with slavery, you know? And he's clearly down with 100 house elves working at Hogwarts. Maybe they're locked in. Maybe this is deep magic stuff that is beyond human intervention, but like, he could give them clothes.
Yeah.
And that's it. Maybe they have clothes. Maybe none of these house elves are actually slaves. They were set free long ago by a previous headmaster. Or they're taking night classes at Hogwarts and they're happy to do it while they're getting their education. And they're foreign exchange students, you know? They don't want to interact with the humans, so they do the night school. And then as soon as they finish their degree, they go back to wherever the free elves live.
Yeah, I like to think they're being treated well.
Yeah,
at Hogwarts.
Just because I want to like Dumbledore and I want to like Hogwarts, but if they're slaves, it becomes a lot harder to root for like Dumbledore and Hogwarts in general.
Because Hogwarts has the most house elves out of any dwelling in Britain.
Yeah, which is kind of nuts.
I know. So I mean, maybe it's good. Maybe Dumbledore sees their mistreatment and just takes them all under so he can treat them well. But I don't know. That's rough.
Huh.
There's another description in the book right now I'm going to read, and I think it's maybe her best description of a character that walks into the story. A man stood in the doorway, leaning upon a long staff, shrouded in a black traveling cloak. Every head in the great hall swiveled toward the stranger. Suddenly, brightly illuminated by a fork of lightning that flashed across the ceiling, he lowered his hood, shook out a long mane of grizzled dark gray hair, the hair description she always has to throw in there, then began to walk up toward the teacher's table. A dull clunk echoed through the hall on his every other step. He reached the end of the top table, turned right, and limped heavily toward Dumbledore. Another flash of lightning crossed the ceiling. Hermione gasped. The lightning had thrown the man's face into sharp relief, and it was a face unlike any Harry had ever seen. It looked as though it had been carved out of weathered wood by someone who had only the vaguest idea of what human faces are supposed to look like, and was none too skilled with a chisel. Every inch of his skin seemed to be scarred. The mouth looked like a diagonal gash, and a large chunk of the nose was missing. But it was the man's eyes that made him frightening. One of them was small, dark, and beady. The other was large, round as a coin, and vivid electric blue. The blue eye was moving ceaselessly without blinking and was rolling up, down, and from side to side quite independently of the normal eye. And then it rolled right over, pointing into the back of the man's head so that all they could see was whiteness. I think that's such a good description of this guy. You get such a good picture of what he looks like. I don't have the Jim K version, but the Jim K version is a great version. I'll send you a picture of that later. It's so good. And then we learned about the Triwizard tournament here too. It's my pleasure to inform you that the Triwizard tournament will be taking place at Hogwarts this year. "You're joking," said Fred Weasley loudly. The tension that had filled the hall ever since Moody's arrival suddenly broke. Nearly everyone laughed, and Dumbledore chuckled appreciatively. "I am not joking, Mr. Weasley," he said. "Though now that you mention it, I did hear an excellent one over the summer about a troll, a hag, and a leprechaun who all go into a bar." Professor McGonagall cleared her throat loudly. What are your thoughts on the Triwizard Tournament, and what do you think they'll have to do in it? What tasks do you think the people who are in the Triwizard Tournament are going to have to do?
I think there's a dragon section.
All right.
What do they have to do? Do they have to tame it? Do they have to get past it? I don't know.
Ride it.
Oh. That would be great too. I'm sure they're they said the kids died, right? So it's got to be really difficult. Or was it they died because someone messed up, did some dark magic, and caused things to go awry? But there's probably like a sky, a ground, a water, fire section.
Like elemental. I like that.
Great theme.
Yeah.
I like it.
Maybe like a theme with each of the schools too. So maybe Hogwarts has to come up with a task, then Beauxbaton, and then Durmstrang have to come up with a task too.
That'd be a fair way to do it. Yeah. Because the whole thing confuses me. I'm skeptical of the tournament as a whole because kids are dying and then there's an individual money prize. Feels odd. Like it's not for your school. Right. It's not like you get to have a trophy, a cup, a statue in front of your school. A kid just gets $1,000. Well, 1,000 galleons, whatever that is, So it feels just odd. Like, why would this be? I feel like it is setting up for some nefarious things because the Dark Mark casters, it's a short list of suspects, and they were the ones who were involved in making this thing happen because we know that it was Crouch and Bagman and their departments at the ministry who helped organize this. So it's setting up to be a bad idea all around. But even if it wasn't set up by nefarious people, I'm not totally sure what it accomplishes. Like, is this just a friendly rivalry between three schools and they want to see who's going to win? But then
they should do that with a Quidditch game.
Yeah, right. Because then, like, why make it such a big deal? Yeah. And these people have to go to a different school for like a huge portion of the year, and only one student represents. Why not like let a bunch of students from each school participate? Yeah, because then you're really just choosing the one outlier. Like there are two things about this. I think they need to do
maybe like a 4 European team Quidditch tournament. So like in your school itself, you are playing against each other house, and then the winner of that individual game, or the winner of like whoever wins the table, goes and plays the winner of Durmstrang, and those two winners play, and then whoever wins that plays the winner of Beauxbaton, and whoever Beauxbaton plays, and it's like a final, like, so Hogwarts is the champion in Europe for schools. Yep. And then the Triwizard Tournament to me would be so fun if it wasn't just school related. Let like the greatest wizards of the age, like who volunteer for this stuff, just go into this and like have to fight 3 tasks that the world gets to watch. It's like, maybe it's like the Colosseum and the gladiatorial games. You never know. But I feel like that'd be so entertaining. I feel like that'd be
absolutely
right. Like the second a student dies, it's done forever. Why are they bringing it back?
I know.
But see, then even what was the original purpose? Like, what is it accomplishing? Right. If students are dying, but also something's being accomplished, you can make a case. But in this case, it feels like it's kind of just having fun, competing. Yeah.
And they get money. Who's giving the money?
Yeah, where'd the money come from? Each school has to pay a little bit. So
there goes some of the endowment.
Exactly, they're dipping into their endowments. Like, it just feels, something about it feels off. And in my mind, that's why it hasn't happened in a century, because they stopped doing it because it didn't make sense. They got more progressive. They're like, all right, death isn't cool anymore. And it's only because of these nefarious people that it's starting up again.
Yeah.
But Dumbledore is down with it. Not totally sure why.
Yeah.
I know, that's what I was
Maybe it's a bit of a mole hunt and Dumbledore's trying to expose the mole, and this is a chance to do that. It feels like the only real option for Hogwarts is Harry to be the guy. I I don't know how that's going to work with the other thing Dumbledore said about having to be an older student. If you want the best student, why create an age gap or age restriction?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think Dumbledore is only doing it to test people, to get them to like come up with ways around this. The Weasleys were just like, oh yeah, obviously we're going to come up with a way around it.
But wait, I thought a judge picked who was going.
Well, that's what I don't get either. Like maybe that didn't. No, I think that did come up in this chapter. Yeah, where the judge chooses, and the Weasleys, Fred and George, are making it sound like once the judge chooses, those words leave his mouth. It's locked in, even if they weren't supposed to put their names in to begin with. Right. So I'm like, well, that seems a little odd. Shouldn't Dumbledore like just be there? And who is this judge and why is he doing it and not Dumbledore? And like, is this a seer that the judge knows more than other people? And the whole thing, I'm confused by it.
So in the beginning of this whole part of this conversation, you were saying that it's a setup to capture Harry Potter.
I don't know if it's capture. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish. I don't think it's capture because they could have done that at the World Cup if they wanted to. But it's something else. And that's what I don't know. Like getting people together.
Who do you think the Hogwarts champion is going to be?
I feel like I'm going to say Harry, but there's also a chance we never see the tournament. Yeah. And this is all just like
a sideshow.
Yeah, like this is all to get something to happen. The tournament doesn't ever happen.
Because he is too young.
Right. Or maybe the person who is representing Hogwarts ends up getting captured or dies or something bad happens to them before, and then Harry could fill in. That'd be kind of cool, I guess. We don't know enough about what it actually is yet, so it's hard to say.
I just can't believe kids want to go and do it after they find out that people have died. Right. I'd be like, no, thanks. Well, you guys would probably
we would say
running with the bulls story, etc., etc., skydiving. Well, death is what makes things exciting. I forget who said that. It might have been the Weasleys. I was
Not
like,
me.
yeah, preach, Fred and George. I don't know.
So you would be Fred and George.
Maybe, but again, is it just for glory and money? It just feels like I'm competitive about some things, but like I'm not that competitive. So this isn't quite doing it for me yet. Maybe because I don't care enough about the other schools. I don't want to destroy them. But if we meet the other schools when they arrive and we're like, yep, they're the worst, let's get them. Yeah. Then I'm a little more motivated. I want to see them lose more than I want to see, Fred and George win or whoever ends up doing it. So we'll see.
Jen, who do you think the Hogwarts champion is going to be?
Well, I looked at this cover of my book.
Okay.
And
How
I'm
much is this
assuming that maybe that is it, but I also got sucked into the summary of something, and it sounds as though it could be.
Wow, the summary goes beyond Act 1?
Yeah,
unreasonable.
It wasn't
These summary writers need to whip up their game here.
But I'm not sure I was supposed to say anything. I don't know. It's not fact yet. But
we just don't know any older students that would technically qualify.
But we don't know anyone that's good enough because Harry Potter. The book's about Harry Potter.
So like Oliver Wood, we know like a few random ones, or some Quidditch ones like Oliver Wood, Angelina Johnson, like the Weasley twins can't, but maybe they could bypass something because they're old enough and they're smart enough.
Wait, how old is they're athletes?
Flint, Marcus, huh?
How old is Cho?
Cho's too young. She's a fifth year.
Oh man, I'm like thinking of all the other people we know.
Like we don't know too many. We don't know like any Hufflepuffs really.
I thought they had to be a certain talent.
Yeah.
Wait, Cedric Diggory, he's a Hufflepuff?
Yeah, he's like one of the only Hufflepuffs we know, so he could be the champion.
Is he in Harry's grade, though?
No, he's older. He was
Oliver Wood's grade.
I think he's a 7th year, yeah. So he could be the one.
He could be the one.
Yeah.
He might be the only 7th year that I trust. Mm-hmm. If he's 7th year. But literally, we didn't even know how old he was. Who was the... Percy's girlfriend? She's already gone, right?
Penelope Clearwater.
Penelope?
Yeah, she's gone though.
Oh, she was in his grade?
Yeah. That'd be great. Imagine Percy doing these challenges.
Well, I cannot even imagine.
Would lose so fast. Yeah, it's fun to figure this out. This tournament is strange.
It's weird though, because in my mind, it's like everything Harry has already done, like Chamber of Secrets.
Yes.
Sorcerer's
Fighting a
Stone.
basilisk.
Yeah, like all
fighting
these things. I'm
Voldemort.
like, he already wins the goblet.
I could see the Weasleys doing it, finding a way to do that. The question is, will Ron and Harry and probably not Hermione, but will others do whatever the Weasleys learn to do to get their names submitted on the list or whatever it is? That'll be interesting. I'd be down if the Weasleys did, but then who's the guy who's going to crush it, Fred or George?
I know, that's the question.
Or is that all part of their illusion? It's both of them, and they can tag team it. That's like a superpower in this.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. That'd be so cool.
But what are the challenges?
I know.
Do you know the challenges already?
I do.
Oh man, are they? Never mind.
Don't ask me.
We can't talk about the challenges. We'll talk about
Don't
that
ask
later.
me anything.
Yeah.
It's all. It's all.
What do you think they
trippy
are?
here.
Since
Well, I
you
feel like
don't
they
know?
have to be big. They've got to be like big things, like you said, fighting a basilisk. You know.
I said a dragon, but yeah.
Oh, well, no, you said that too. But you said like Harry's been through these
No, I
challenges
know.
already, like basilisk, mountain troll,
Yeah.
chambers of secrets. He's going through the playing chess, picking the vials, catching the key. These are like all challenges that could kind of work if they were competitive, but 3 people doing them instead of just Harry. So yeah, make it a dragon instead of a troll or a basilisk. But is there one that's about wits? And it can't just be like one moment. It's not just catch the snitch. I feel like if it's this big production, these challenges have to be endurance tasks as well. Like long things. But I don't know what that looks like.
How
and
long are they?
I don't know. In my mind, multiple days. Like it's about like really surviving out there in the world, wherever they are.
So they like drop you off like 100 miles from Hogwarts.
First one back to Hogwarts.
It'd kind of be fun, like rat race or
And
something.
because you can't apparate back, it really is like using your knowledge of potions and spells and this and that to
survival.
Like get as close as you can. That'd be fun. A giant race. A race is pretty classic. That should be a challenge with whatever obstacles.
I don't know why I keep thinking of like the Hunger Games and they're
where
fighting
they're actually fighting each other. Because that was not what I thought, where it's actively fighting, like last man standing kind of stuff, but it could be.
That would be wild.
And then that makes sense why people died.
Yep.
Every year, 2 students die and 1 comes out victorious.
Oh my goodness.
And they get the money from the kid.
Yeah, they get the money. And I felt like funny because Ron with the money, he got like, it felt like his jaw dropped. He's like, oh, money. Like, oh, goodness.
And Harry's like,
poor Ron.
Like, I just took that out last week. That's easy.
Yeah. I drop that on a new broomstick whenever I want. Chump change.
Oh, we're going to talk about the tournament as we go on too. But at the end of this chapter, Neville falls through a trap step, which is I just want to make a side point. It's just ridiculous that Hogwarts even has these trap steps. Why? There's no real reason for it.
Especially if the students are just learning to avoid them. Yeah. They're not like learning to overcome them or spot them in the real world. It just feels like just another funny thing about Hogwarts, moving steps, trap steps.
Yeah, and poor Neville's the only one that forgets about it.
Poor Neville.
But thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. As always, rate and review this podcast 5 stars. Most of our listeners are on Spotify, so you can't review us, but that's okay. Also, just so you know, this is the first part in our chapters 11 to 14 podcast. The next part is coming out later this week, so stay tuned for that. And thanks for your support. It's really fun doing this, and we're glad that you guys are all having fun reading, listening, and joining us.